Warning: the teacher you are about to see is incredibly bald. He has recently raised almost $600 for charity and shaved his head in the process. If you would like to learn more about this charity, visit the St. Baldrick's Foundation website at www.stbaldricks.org.
Hey kids, welcome back to Mr. McDavid's Super Awesome Science Show. I'm Mr. McDavid, your super awesome science teacher, and today's topic is...
Energy!
Energy is the ability to do work or to cause change. Energy is all around us, and it comes in so many different forms. This car contains motion energy. This fire contains heat energy. The sun gives us light energy. And speakers give us sound energy. Energy comes in 7 different forms. And an acronym to help us remember is pretty simple. Mrs. Chin. Let's focus on the first form for just a second. The M in Mrs. Chin stands for mechanical energy. And mechanical energy is a measurement of one object's potential and kinetic energy. This rubber band, when I pull it back, is full of potential energy. But when I release it, it's converted into kinetic energy. Cool.
When the rubber band strikes a piece of paper, the energy from the rubber band is then transferred into the piece of paper.
Okay, so when we're talking about mechanical energy, we're talking about either potential or kinetic energy. Have you ever heard your parents say you're full of potential? Well, they're not talking about energy necessarily, but what they mean is that you're full of the capability to do something. And when we say an object is full of potential energy, that means that an object has energy stored within itself and it's capable of going into motion. When we say an object has kinetic energy, that means that the object's energy has been converted into movement or motion energy. The second form of energy is radiant or light energy. Electricity powers this light bulb, but light energy is the light coming from the bulb itself. Radiant or light energy is produced by electrically charged particles. Do you know what another form of radiant or light energy is? That's right! The sun is one of the largest and most natural forms of radiant or light energy. Can we say thanks, Mr. Sun?
You're welcome, girls and boys.
Our third form of energy is sound energy. Sound energy is when waves travel through the air and vibrate your eardrums.
Sound energy works when sound waves travel through the air and enter your ear canals. The eardrums are hit with sound energy and begin to vibrate. The vibrations from the eardrums causes a chain reaction inside of your ears that eventually sends a signal to your brain. Pretty cool, huh? Now, let's talk about our fourth form of energy.
Chemical energy is energy stored in the bonds of chemical compounds like atoms and molecules. It's released during a chemical reaction. Heat is often produced as a byproduct during these chemical reactions. Whoa! Another good example of chemical energy is batteries. Batteries are filled with chemical compounds that scientists have figured out a way to use to help us. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, hot. Oh. Heat energy is related to particle motion. The faster the particles are moving, the more heat that gets generated. Even ice cubes have energy.
Are you sure?
Not that ice cube, these ice cubes. All objects have thermal energy, but the colder the objects, the slower the particles are moving. The sixth form of energy is electrical energy. And we get electrical energy from moving electrons.
You might recognize these gentlemen as Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison. These guys helped harness the power of moving electrons so that we could use electrical energy. Without them, we'd still be playing in the dark.
Our last form of energy, the seventh and final form, is nuclear power. Nuclear energy comes from the nucleus of an atom being split, and we call that fission, or coming together, and we call that fusion. Of course, nuclear power can come from a nuclear power plant, duh, but do you know where else we get nuclear power from? That's right, you guessed it, the sun. The sun's molecules are constantly reacting, and that nuclear energy produces light and heat. Okay, let's recap. Get it? Because it's a cap? No. All right. That was silly. Anyways, today we've talked about 7 forms of energy. And we can use this acronym, Mrs. Chin, to help us remember. The M stands for mechanical energy, like we get from a car. The R stands for radiant energy, like we get from the sun. We can also call it light energy. The S stands for sound energy, like we get from a speaker. It travels through waves. The C is for chemical energy, like we get when 2 chemical compounds react. The H is for heat energy, like we get from a fire. The E is electrical energy, remember flowing electrons. And the N is nuclear energy.
That's the end of our show. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some potential energy to convert. See you next time.